To make the beaded tie, you'll need 4 strands or about 260 beads, each 8 mm in diameter. If you want the tie to be longer or wider, you'll need more beads. Take a 3-meter piece of fishing line. I use 0.6 mm fishing line. Fold the fishing line in half and string 4 beads onto it. Align both ends of the fishing line and pass one end through a bead in the opposite direction toward the other end. Next, string 2 beads onto one end of the fishing line and 1 bead onto the other end. Then cross the lines through that last bead and pull tight. Next, string 3 beads onto the right end of the fishing line. Then pass the left end through the last bead in a crisscross motion and pull tight. This moves you to the next row. Next, string 3 beads onto the right end of the fishing line. Then pass the other line through the last bead in a crisscross motion and pull tight. Next, pass the upper line through the next bead of the previous row. String 2 beads onto the bottom line. Then pass the other line through the last bead in a crisscross motion and pull tight. Next, pass the upper line through the next bead of the previous row. String 2 beads onto the left end of the fishing line. Then pass the other end through the last bead and pull tight. This moves you to the next row. Continue building as many rows as you need. I made 25 rows in length. To create the tie shape, you'll need to place the final bead cluster in the center. To do this, guide the fishing line so that both ends come out of the center bead. To do this, form the final bead cluster in a way that the line doesn't exit downward, but through a side bead instead. Then follow my next steps carefully. Now bring both ends of the fishing line together through the center bead. String 3 beads onto one end of the fishing line. Then loop the line back through the original bead. Pull it tight. Now you need to hide both ends of the fishing line within the weave. To do this, simply thread the line back through the beads, following the weave in reverse about 6 to 8 beads. This will help secure the line properly. After you've hidden the fishing line, trim off the excess ends that are sticking out. Let's make the tie loop. Take a 70 cm piece of fishing line and pass it through 3 beads between the 4th and 5th rows. That means count down 4 beads from the top, then thread the line through. Fold the tie, string 1 bead. Then bring both ends of the fishing line through that bead and pull tight. Pass the right line through the top right bead and the left line through the top left bead. Then string 2 beads and cross the lines through both beads. Next, guide both lines upward again. String 3 beads and pull tight. Next, bring the fishing line up to the next row. String 4 beads and pull tight. Next, thread the fishing line through the very top side beads. Next, I string 25 beads on each side. You can add more depending on the length you want. I'll be using standard jewelry findings. First, thread on a clamshell bead tip calotte. Then a crimp bead and squeeze the crimp to secure it. Then pass the fishing line back through the beads in the opposite direction. Trim off the excess fishing line. Close the clamshell bead tip calotte. Repeat the same steps on the other side. And for the final touch, attach it to the clasp. The tie is finished. Thank you for watching.